Hello and welcome to the 1969 baseball season. We are here. It is April 8th, opening day at Wrigley Field between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs have in fact executed a transaction here at the end of spring training. They have traded Joe Niekro and a couple of minor leaguers to the San Diego Padres for pitcher Dick Selma. Now, as for today's game, the Phillies are coming in for a 3-game series at Wrigley. And for game 1, we're going to see the Philadelphia starter will be Rick Wise. He is making his first start of the season here on opening day. Last year, he went 9-15 with a 4.55 ERA and 182 innings pitched. Now, he will be opposed by the Cubs ace, Ferguson Jenkins. Jenkins went 20-15 last year, starting 40 games, throwing 308 innings and recording 260 strikeouts against 65 walks with a 2.63 ERA. Very impressive season for him last year. The Cubs are going to run out a lineup today of Kessinger, Williams, Santo, Hickman, Banks, Beckert, Huntley, Blatt in center, and Jenkins doing the pitching. The Phillies lineup will be Taylor, Callison, Dick Allen, Larry Heil, Cal Emery, Hank McGraw, Don Mooney, Cookie Rojas, and then the pitcher, Rick Wise. We are going to see some strategy changes here made as the AI will be running the base running and the defense, and I will be making the other decisions. So, it is 47 degrees, pretty chilly here in Wrigley for an April game, and the wind is blowing left to right at 9 mph. The crowd is filtering in. We have 24,000 in attendance today. And we see Jenkins standing on the mound. He is going to face Taylor to start out this ball game. Cubs and Phillies enjoying some success in spring training and hoping that that will play out here in the regular season as Jenkins delivers a 2-0 sinker. It's popped up behind second base, and Beckert goes back and he puts it away for out number 1. Callison now is the batter. He comes up against Jenkins with 1 out and nobody on. Here's a full count pitch from Ferguson Jenkins. That is inside and high. That is ball 4. So Callison draws the 1-out walk, and it brings up Dick Allen. Allen had a pretty good season for the Phillies last year. 33 home runs, 90 RBIs, and a 263 batting average. Probably the best hitter on their team. So Allen is going to face Jenkins with Callison on first and 1 out. Here's a 2-0 pitch from Jenkins. That's popped up to center. Coming in is Blatt, and he makes the catch. That is out number 2. Larry Heil is now the hitter for the Phillies, coming up with 2 outs and a runner on first. Here's a 1-strike pitch from Jenkins. That is looped over the shortstop, and Kessinger goes back to make the catch in short left field to end the inning. So, the Phillies strand a runner. We go to the bottom of the first of a 0-0 ball game. Kessinger is leading off for the Cubs. The switch-hitting Kessinger steps in from the left side against the righty, Rick Wise. Here is the pitch. Grounder toward first, scooped up, steps on the base, and Emery will retire him for out number 1. Billy Williams now the batter, again batting from the left side against the righty Wise. And here's the first pitch to Billy Williams. Line past the third baseman into left field. That'll be the first base hit of the ball game. Williams rounding first with a big turn, but heading back, he will settle for a single, and it brings up Ron Santo. Santo will bat against Wise with 1 out and 1 man on, and here's a full count pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Got him with the fastball at 93. So Santo heads back to the dugout, and it brings up Jim Hickman. Hickman batting with 2 outs and 1 man on. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Hickman. Grounder toward third. The throw goes to second, and the lead runner is retired to end the inning on a fielder's choice. Well, the Cubs get a base hit, but they do not score. We go to the top of the second of a 0-0 ball game. Jenkins will face Cal Emery to lead off the Phillies half of the second inning. Here's a 1-ball count and the pitch. Lined into center field. I believe that's going to get down for a base. Oh, the diving play. Blatt makes an excellent defensive move out in center field to record the first out. I thought for sure that was going to land for a single. Hank McGraw now the batter with 1 out, nobody on. McGraw waiting for the 1-1 pitch. Popped up behind second base. Beckert goes over. He makes the play in short right field for out number 2. Money now the batter. Don Money batting with 2 outs and nobody on. Here is a 1-strike pitch from Jenkins. Grounder up the middle. Jenkins scoops it up, throws to first, and Banks catches it for out number 3. So the Phillies retired in order in the second. We go now to the bottom of the second inning of a 0-0 ball game. Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub himself, will lead off for the Cubs in the bottom of the second. Here's a 3-0 count and the pitch. Popped up right field, heading toward the well, and Callison will make the play for out number 1. Glenn Beckert now batting with 1 out, nobody on. Here's a 2-0 count and the pitch. Line past the third baseman into left field. That'll be a base hit. Beckert rounding first, but staying put with a 1-out single. So Beckert pulls that one into left field, and it brings up Randy Hundley with 1 out and 1 man on. Hundley waiting for the full count pitch. That is inside. It is ball 4. So Hundley draws the walk, and now the Cubs have got something going. There is first and second, and only 1 out, and Rick Blatt is now the batter. With 1 out, 2 men on, Wise facing Blatt. And here's the first pitch. Lined into center field, that's going to drive in a run. Beckert rounding third. Oh, he gets the stop sign from the third base coach, and Beckert has to hold. So Hundley advances to second. The Cubs now have the bases loaded, and Ferguson Jenkins is the batter. Jenkins comes up with 1 out and the bases loaded. The infield is drawn in. Cubs trying to break a scoreless tie here in the bottom of the second inning. Jenkins waiting for the 2-1 pitch. Grounded towards second. The throw comes home. The lead runner's retired. The throw goes down to first, but Jenkins, in a hustling move, beats the throw down to first. So there's no double play. The runner is retired at home, so the Cubs do not score. However, Kessinger is now coming up with the bases still loaded and 2 outs. The infield goes back to regular depth, and Kessinger will be waiting for the pitch. Here is a full count, and he draws the walk. So the run is forced in. Kessinger draws the 2-out walk with the bases loaded, and the Cubs have scored their first run of this ball game. It is 1-0 Chicago in the bottom of the second inning. The bases are still loaded, and Billy Williams now is the batter. 2 outs, 3 men on base, and a 1-ball count. Williams waiting for the pitch. And that's hit hard. Deep left center field. It is off the wall. Williams heading for second. He's going to have a double. No, he's heading for third. The throw goes to third. Williams slides, and he is safe. A bases clearing triple for Billy Williams has just put the Cubs up 4-0 in the bottom of the second inning. Williams with his first triple of the season, driving in 3, and it brings up Ron Santo. 2 outs, runner 90 feet away. Wise facing Santo here in the bottom of the second inning. Here's a 2-2 count and the pitch. And he crushes that one into right center field. That's going all the way to the wall. Santo drives in another run. He's heading for extra bases. He slides into second and he is safe. So the Cubs are now up 5-0 on the Santo RBI double in the bottom of the second inning. Wise now facing Jim Hickman with 2 outs, runner on second, 5 runs already in the bottom of the second inning. Here's a 1-ball count and the pitch to Hickman. Popped up. This is going to be playable. I believe it will end the inning. On the warning track, Hickman gave it a ride, but ultimately that was the 3rd out of the inning. So the Cubs score 5 times in the bottom of the second, and it is 5-0 Chicago going into the top of the 3rd inning. Rojas will lead off for the Phillies against Jenkins in the top of the 3rd. Rojas waiting for the 1-2 pitch. And that's grounded past Santo down the third baseline. Williams is chasing it down into the corner. The runner rounds first. He slides into second with a leadoff double. So Rojas smokes that one down the third baseline. Leadoff double for the Phillies, and it brings up the pitcher, Rick Wise. With nobody out and a runner on second, Wise waiting for the 1-strike pitch. And here's a bunt. Jenkins has it, throws over to first as Beckert is covering, and the play is made. So the sacrifice is successful as Rojas advances to third. There is now 1 out, a runner 90 feet away, and Taylor is the next batter. Tony Taylor waiting for the 1-ball count and the pitch. Ground ball to Banks over at first. He flips to Jenkins, who's covering the base, and the 2nd out is recorded. However, the run scores as the Cubs concede the run on the ground ball to first. So now there are 2 outs and nobody on base, and Jenkins facing Johnny Callison. Here is a 1-2 count, and Jenkins with the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. That will retire the side, so the score is now 5-1 going into the bottom of the 3rd inning. Ernie Banks is going to lead off for the Cubs in the bottom of the 3rd. Banks facing Rick Wise. 1-1 count and the pitch. And he crushes that one into left center field. That is going to be, a diving play. The center fielder for the Phillies, Heil, dives in left center field and snags it for the 1st out of the inning. And man, Ernie Banks just got robbed. It'll bring up Glenn Beckert now with 1 out and nobody on. Here is the first pitch to Glenn Beckert. Grounder toward third, scooped up and thrown over to first, and that is out number 2. Randy Hundley now the batter with 2 outs and nobody on. Here's a full count pitch to Randy Hundley. That's lined right up the middle. He just about took Wise's head right off of his shoulders. That was about a shoulder-high line drive right over the pitcher's mound, and Hundley has a 2-out single. This will bring up the center fielder Blatt with 2 outs and 1 man on. Here's a full 3-0 count and the pitch. That is blown away. It is ball 4. So 3 walks on the day for Wise as Hundley heads down to second, and the pitcher Jenkins comes up. With 2 outs, 2 men on, Jenkins waiting for the first pitch. Grounder towards second, scooped up, thrown over to first, and that is out number 3. So the Cubs get 2 base runners, but they do not score. We go to the top of the 4th inning. It is 5-1 Chicago. Jenkins will face Dick Allen to lead off for the Phillies in the top of the 4th inning. Here is a 1-2 count and the pitch. Lined into right field, right at Hickman, and he makes about 2 steps to his left and makes the catch for out number 1. Heil now the batter for the Phillies. The center fielder Larry Heil coming up with 1 out, nobody on. Here's an 0-2 count and the pitch. Grounder toward, past Santo at third and into left field. That's going to be a 1-out single for Larry Heil. And it will bring up Cal Emery. With 1 out, 1 man on. And I believe we're going to see a pickoff throw over to first right here. Jenkins with a quick move, and he throws over to first, but the runner is safe. So Jenkins now pitching to Emery. First pitch, and the runner goes. The throw goes down to second. And Hundley's throw is late. The runner is safe, and Heil has just stolen his first base of the season. Emery now batting, 1 out. Runner in scoring position. Here's a 1-2 count. Popped up on the infield. Santo coming in. Kessinger coming in. Kessinger calls him off and makes the catch for out number 2. This will bring up Hank McGraw, the Phillies catcher, with 2 outs and a runner on second. Here is the first pitch from Jenkins. Crushed deep left center field. That is gonna be gone. So a 2-run home run for McGraw. That is 414 feet out beyond the left field wall. So the score is now 5-3, and the Cubs are hanging on to the lead. Don Money is the next batter with 2 outs and nobody on. Money waiting for the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3, and Jenkins punches him out with the fastball at 93. That will end the inning for the Phillies. 2 runs are scored on the home run. We go to the bottom of the 4th of a 5-3 Chicago lead. Kessinger facing Wise here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Here's a 2-1 count and the pitch. Grounder up the middle. Shortstop has it. Throws over to first, and that is out number 1. Billy Williams now the batter with 1 out, nobody on. Williams with a bases clearing triple in the 2nd inning is now waiting for the pitch. Popped up this time. Deep left field, but playable on the warning track. And Allen makes the catch for out number 2. Santo now batting. 2 outs, nobody on. Santo waiting for the first pitch from Wise. And here it comes. Crushed right up the middle. That's going to be a 2-out single for Ron Santo. And he is on base, which will bring up Jim Hickman with 2 outs, 1 man on. Cubs up by 2. Here's a 1-2 count. And Hickman hits that one hard, but right at the center fielder. Couple steps to his left, and Heil makes a routine play in center field to end the inning. So the Cubs strand a runner. We go to the top of the 5th of a 5-3 ball game. Jenkins will face Rojas in the top of the 5th inning. Jenkins working with a 1-strike count and the pitch. That's hit pretty hard right field, but Hickman is going to be able to track it down and make the catch for out number 1. Wise now batting. The pitcher Wise coming up. He had a sacrifice the last time he was up. Now he's making his 2nd at-bat of the day. And he comes up with 1 out, nobody on. Jenkins with the pitch. Grounder toward first. Banks has it. Steps on the base, and that is out number 2. Taylor now the batter with 2 outs and nobody on. Here's a 2-1 count and the pitch from Jenkins. Grounder up the middle. Kessinger has it, throws over to first, and that ends the inning. So the Cubs retire the Phillies in order in the 5th. We go to the bottom of the 5th of a 5-3 Chicago lead. Ernie Banks is going to lead off for the Cubs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. He will face Rick Wise for the 3rd time today. He is 0 for 2 so far. Here's a 1-ball count and the pitch. Banks pops it up to left. Coming in and making the play is Allen for out number 1. Beckert now batting, 1 out, nobody on. Here's a 1-1 count, and the pitch to Glenn Beckert is coming. Grounder up the middle, second baseman has it, throws over to first, and that is out number 2. Randy Hundley now the batter with 2 outs, nobody on. Full count pitch to Randy Hundley. And here it comes. Grounder towards short. The throw goes over to first, and he is retired 6-3. So, the Cubs are retired in order in the 5th inning. We go to the top of the 6th of a 5-3 Chicago lead. Jenkins now facing Callison with the Phillies trailing by 2 in the top of the 6th inning. Here's a 2-2 count and the pitch. Looped into right field. I believe that's going to fall in as Hickman plays it on the hop. That'll be a leadoff single for Callison, and it brings up Dick Allen. Allen is 0 for 2 today against Jenkins. Jenkins working, and here's the pitch with a 3-1 count. Grounder towards short. Throw goes over to second. Relay to first, and that is a 6-4-3 double play. So the runner is erased. The Phillies now have 2 outs and nobody on, and Larry Heil will be the batter. 1 for 2 today. Heil coming up with 2 outs and nobody on. Here's a 1 strike count and the pitch. Popped up center field. Blatt coming in. Tracking and making the catch for out number 3. So the Phillies do not score. We go to the bottom of the 6th of a 5-3 Chicago lead. Blatt is going to lead off for the Cubs in the bottom of the 6th inning. It'll be Blatt and then Jenkins and then the top of the order. Wise working with a 1-1 count. And that's a liner past the third baseman into left field. That'll be a lead-off single for Blatt. And with 1 out, or nobody out and a runner on first, Jenkins will come up. I'm guessing that this is going to be a sacrifice situation as Jenkins waits for the 1-1 count and the pitch. Tries to make contact and the count goes to 1-2. So Jenkins now swinging away with a 2-strike count. There's a liner past the shortstop into left field, another base hit. So Jenkins and Blatt have back-to-back singles, and it'll bring up the top of the Cubs lineup with 2 men on and nobody out. Kessinger stepping in from the left side, waiting for the 1-2 count and the pitch. Popped up to center field. Heil heading back toward the warning track. He makes the catch for out number 1. The runner, Blatt, does not tag up in advance. Billy Williams now is the batter. 1 out, 2 men on. Williams waiting for the full count pitch. Here it comes. And that's popped up to deep left field, going back to the warning track and making the catch for out number 2 is Dick Allen. However, the runner on second, Blatt, on a heads-up play, tags up and advances to third. So this will bring up Ron Santo with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Santo coming up as the Cubs trying to add to this 2-run lead. 2-1 count. Santo waiting for the pitch. Grounder toward third. Scooped up, throws over to second, and the side is retired on the fielder's choice. So the Cubs get 2 runners. They do not score. We go to the top of the 7th inning of a 5-3 ball game. Jenkins facing Emery in the top of the 7th. Jenkins working. 70 pitches on the day. Here's a 2-2 count and the pitch. Lined up the middle. That's going to be a base hit for Emery to lead off the Phillies half of the 7th inning. McGraw now the batter. He hit a home run his last time up. He is going to be facing Jenkins with nobody out and a runner on first. Here's a 1-1 count and Jenkins with the pitch. Lined into center field, Blatt coming in fast, but he plays it on a hop. So back-to-back base hits as the runner on first, Emery, advances to third. And that will bring up a pinch hitter. John Briggs is going to come up for the Phillies. He comes up with nobody out. Runners on first and third. Jenkins struggling here a bit in the top of the 7th inning. And we're going to see some activity in the Cub bullpen. We're going to see a righty, Phil Regan, is going to start warming up. Now, Briggs facing Jenkins with runners on the corners, nobody out. Jenkins working with an 0-2 count and the pitch. That is hit hard into deep center field, going all the way to the wall. That is going to be a double for the pinch hitter as Blatt hurries it back in. However, Emery scores. McGraw goes to third. Briggs gets the RBI double. And Jenkins has now given up a run. It is 5-4 in favor of Chicago. And we're going to see a visit to the mound as the manager is going to come out and say, "Hey, what's going on?" And Jenkins says, "I'm not tired at all. I want to stay in this game." Regan is not warmed up yet, so we're going to let him stay out there for a little while longer. Darren Johnson is the next pinch hitter being sent up by the Phillies. He comes up with nobody out, runners on second and third, and Johnson facing Jenkins. Do we intentionally walk this guy? No, not with the pitcher coming up next. I think we got to try to get this guy out. So Johnson waiting for the 1-2 count and the pitch. Strike 3 called. Jenkins knocks him out with the fastball, or excuse me, the sinker at 88. So that's his third strikeout of the day. And now we see a pinch hitter for the pitcher's spot, which is Rick Joseph. He's making his first appearance of the season. Regan is ready out in the bullpen. So when is the right time to bring him in? I think Jenkins, at 87 pitches, is going to be allowed to pitch to Joseph with 1 out, runners on second and third. Here's a 2-1 count and the pitch. Grounder towards second. The throw goes over to first, and that is out number 2. So the tying run scores because the infield was playing back. Beckert to Banks for out number 2. The go-ahead runner is now on third, and the leadoff hitter, Taylor, is stepping up to the plate. So Jenkins is going to be allowed to try to get out of this inning. He's going to pitch to Taylor, and if he doesn't get Taylor out, then we're bringing in Regan. Jenkins working, 2-1 count, and here's the pitch. Grounder up the middle, second baseman Beckert has it, throws over to first, and that retires the side. So Jenkins allows 2. However, the game is tied going into the bottom of the 7th inning, 5-5. And now we're going to see Regan is going to be sat down. The Phillies are going to bring in Turk Farrell to pitch in the bottom of the 7th inning to Hickman, Banks, and Beckert. Hickman waiting for the 2-2 count and the pitch. Line down the left field line. I believe that's going to drop in for a leadoff single for Jim Hickman. That's his first base hit of the season. He is now standing on first with Ernie Banks coming up to bat. Nobody out, runner on first. Banks waiting for the 2-2 count and the pitch. Popped up to center field. Heil coming in. He's going to make that play in shallow center field for out number 1. Glenn Beckert now the batter. With 1 out, 1 man on. Beckert facing Farrell in the bottom of the 7th inning. Cubs trying to break this 5-5 tie. There's a grounder towards second. The throw goes to short. The relay to first. And the side is retired on a 4-6-3 double play. So the Cubs get a runner. They do not score. We go to the top of the 8th inning. It is the Phillies and Cubs tied at 5. So we need to get Regan. He is ready. So the Cubs are now going to do a substitution, and there will be a double switch because Regan is going to come in to Beckert's spot, number 6 spot in the lineup, and pitch. And Montreal Montreal is going to be the new second baseman, and he will bat 9th. So the double switch brings Regan into the game. Top of the 8th inning. He is now going to face the 2, 3, and 4 batters in the Phillies lineup. 1 strike count. Regan working. Here's the pitch. Popped up to right field. Hickman coming in. He makes the catch for out number 1. Dick Allen now the batter with 1 out, nobody on. Regan working, 1 ball count, and the pitch. Little looper into short left field. That's going to be a base hit for Dick Allen. So Kessinger has it land behind him, and Williams can't get in fast enough. Heil now the batter with 1 out, 1 man on. Here is a full count and the pitch. Grounder up the middle. Kessinger has this one. Throws over to first. As there's no play at second, the runner was going. So Allen takes second. There are now 2 outs as the fielder's choice retires Heil at first, and it brings up Cal Emery. 2 outs, runner in scoring position, Regan working, 1 ball count. Here's the pitch. Popped up to right field. Hickman has a line on it, takes a couple steps back, and he makes the catch for out number 3. So Regan allows a base runner. However, the Phillies do not score. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning of a 5-5 tie. And now we're going to see a new Philly pitcher. It is Bill Wilson. Wilson is going to come in, face Hundley, Blatt, and Montreal here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Hundley working, 3-0 count. Hundley waiting for the pitch. Line down the left field line, that's going to be extra bases. Hundley rounding first, heading for second. It goes all the way down into the corner, and he slides safely into second with a double. So a leadoff double for Randy Hundley, and that is going to bring up Blatt. Now we're going to see the wheels really set into action here, because the first thing we're going to see is that Willie Smith is going to pinch hit from the left side, and the catcher Hundley is going to be taken out in favor of a pinch runner who is Adolfo Phillips. So the potential winning run is out on second base. The lefty Smith will be brought in to bat against the righty Wilson, and Phillips, standing out on second, is the pinch runner for the catcher Hundley. Now, 2-2 count. Willie Smith waiting for the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So that is a slider that he's retired on, and it brings up Montreal. Montreal comes up with 1 out, runner still on second. Phillips, the pinch runner, and waiting for the 3-1 count. There's a grounder towards second. The throw goes to first, and that worked like a sacrifice. So even though it wasn't done intentionally, the Cubs now have a runner on third and 2 outs, and Kessinger is the batter. So Kessinger with a chance to knock in the go-ahead run. He is 90 feet away. Here's a 2-2 count. Kessinger waiting for the pitch. Popped up left field. That's going to be playable. Dick Allen heads over and he makes the catch for out number 3. So the Cubs threaten. They leave a runner on third. We go to the top of the 9th inning, and it is a 5-5 ball game. So now, because of all of the changes that were made, Adolfo Phillips is going to stay in the game and play center field. Felsky is going to come in, and he will be the new Cub catcher. Excuse me. And now we have a complete lineup, and Regan is going to work his second inning as he's going to face McGraw, Harmon, and the pitcher's spot here in the top of the 9th inning. Here's a 3-1 count, Regan working. And that's lined into left field, going back toward the wall and making a diving catch for out number 1 is Billy Williams. He absolutely had no regard for the ivy or the brick behind it. He sacrificed his body to make the first out of the inning. Excellent defensive effort, and that brings up Harmon. With 1 out, nobody on. 1-1 count, Regan with the pitch. Liner up the middle. That's going to get past Kessinger into center field. That'll be a 1-out single. So Regan now working to the pinch hitter Schlesinger, if I can pronounce that correctly. Harmon is over on first. Regan working, 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 3. That was a slider that dove out of the zone, and he gets the strikeout for out number 2. And this will bring up Rick Joseph with 2 outs and a runner on first. Joseph facing Regan in the top of the 9th inning. Here's the first pitch from Regan. Liner past the shortstop into left field. That's another base hit. Williams' throw goes down to third, which prevents the runners from continuing to advance. However, Regan now facing Taylor with 2 outs and 2 men on. And in the Cub bullpen, we are going to see Dick LeMay. No, not Dick LeMay. We're going to see Hank Aguirre. Yes. He is going to start warming up in the Cub bullpen. We're going to walk out to the mound and say, "Hey, Regan, how you doing?" He says, "I'm good. Aguirre's warming up, but I think I can get this guy." So, Regan facing Taylor, 2 outs, 2 men on, trying to preserve the tie here in the top of the 9th inning. Here's a 2-strike count, and the pitch from Regan. Liner past Santo into left field. Williams has it. The throw comes home. The runner comes home. And the throw gets away from Hundley. The run scores. Oh, that throwing error by Williams allows the winning run to, or the leading run to score. They had him dead to rights. The throw was in plenty of time, but the throw was too far up the first base line. So the Phillies score. It is 6-5 in the top of the 9th inning, and now Callison is the batter. Regan's still working. He's at 30 pitches. Callison is batting, and Dick Allen is up next. Gosh, you really have to pitch to Callison here. So, Callison waiting for the 2-0 count and the pitch. Popped up on the infield. Beckert coming in. Kessinger calls him off and makes the catch for out number 3. So the Cubs are now down 6-5 going into the bottom of the 9th inning. And Gary Wagner is coming in to pitch for the Phillies. He is going to face Billy Williams, Ron Santo, and Jim Hickman here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Williams waiting for the 2-strike pitch. Wagner working. Here it comes. Grounder towards short. The throw goes over to first, and Williams is retired for out number 1. Santo now batting. 1 out, nobody on. Santo is waiting for the 3-1 pitch. And that is high. It is ball 4, so Santo heads down to first. And that brings up Jim Hickman. With 1 out, 1 man on, facing Wagner. Hickman waiting for the 1-ball count. And here's the pitch. Hickman pops it up on the infield, foul territory. Heading over and making the play is Emery for out number 2. And that will bring up Mr. Cub himself, Ernie Banks, with 2 outs. 1 man on. The tying run is on first. Banks represents the winning run. Here we are in the bottom of the 9th inning. 3-0 count. Banks waiting for the pitch. Outside for ball 4. So he lost him on 4 straight. The tying run goes down to second. And now the pitcher's spot is up, which means it's going to be another pinch hitter. So Regan is going to be pinch hit for, and it's going to be James Burnett. Burnett making his first appearance of the season. He is going to pinch hit against Wagner with the tying run in scoring position in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs. Here is the pitch. And that's popped up to right field. I believe that's going to do it. Coming in and making the play for out number 3 is Callison. So, the Cubs, after staking out an early 5-0 lead, end up losing the game 6-5. The Phillies get 6 runs on 11 hits. The Cubs get 5 runs on 11 hits with 1 error. The player of today's game is Hank McGraw of the Phillies. McGraw went 2 for 2 with a home run and 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. The Cubs' Billy Williams went 2 for 5 with a run scored and 3 RBIs. Ferguson Jenkins went 7 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, and allowed a home run. Regan is tagged with the loss, although the run scored on an error. It should be unearned. I don't know why they count that as an earned run. The Phillies, Wilson gets the win in relief, and Wagner gets his first save of the season. So, the Phillies go to 1-0 as the Cubs drop to 0-1. Thank you for watching Cubs baseball.